All right, today we're going to look at graphing linear equations using X and Y intercepts, which is a deviation from using tables. It's a lot easier than using tables, and it's a lot quicker than using tables. So first, let's look at our graph here of this purple line on our Cartesian plane, and we're looking for the X and the Y intercepts of this graph. So visually, this is what our X-intercepts look like, okay? Our X-intercept is where our line, our graph in this case, which is a line, crosses the X-axis. So it's right here at this point, and that's at -4, okay? And our y-intercept is going to be along the y-axis, all right? So our graph is at -4, so the x-intercept is -4. The point that it is -4, 0. That's the point it creates. Now our y-intercept is the same, except it's along the y-axis. So it's where our graph comes along and crosses or intersects our y-axis. And it's right here, and you can see it's at 6. Okay, it's right there. So our y-intercept is 6. And the point that it gives us is 0, 6. All right, so that's what intercepts mean. Now, there is a method in which we can figure out how to get the x and y intercepts of any linear equation. Actually, it applies to any equation, but in this case, we're dealing with lines. So x-intercept is the x-coordinate where a graph crosses the x-axis, and a y-intercept is the coordinate where the graph crosses the y-axis. Okay, so x crosses the x-axis and y-intercept crosses the y-axis. All right, so this is an example you can look through that's nicely typed up, but we're going to do the same one right here. Find the x-intercept and the y-intercept of the graph 2x plus 7y equals 28. Okay, to find the x-intercepts, what we noticed is that our y value was 0 because it was on the x-axis, so that the point did not go up or down. It just sat on the x-intercept, which is the x-axis. So when we are going to find the x-intercept, we substitute 0 for y and we solve for x. So we take our equation, 2x plus 7y equals 28, and we put 0 in for y. So it's 2x plus 7 times 0 equals 28. 7 times 0 is 0, so it's just 2x equals 28. And when we divide by 2, x is 14. So the point that we get is going to be 14, 0. But the x-intercept is 14, okay? All right, now if we want to find the y-intercept, we're going to substitute 0 for x because that point lies on the y-axis. So we don't go left or right, but then we go up or down onto the y-axis and we plot our point. And then once we do that, we will solve for y. So we take the same equation, that's what we're graphing, and we put 0 in for x. So it's 2 times 0 plus 7y equals 28. Then we get 7y equals 28. Divide by 7 and y equals 4. So that gives us the point 0, 4. And then we can graph those 2 points and we can have our line graphed by intercept. So 14, 0 and 0, 4, we would graph them individually and then we would draw a line through our graph. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to find the x and y intercepts of this linear equation, and then we're going to use them to graph a line. All right, so to graph, we want the x-intercept. Okay, so let's get a bright color here. Okay, the x-intercept we'll find first. So we're going to set y equal to 0, or just set y to 0. And that means that we're going to take -3x plus 9 times 0 equals -18. Just watch your signs. All right, so that's what it looks like so far. Now 9 times 0 is 0. So therefore, we just really have -3x equals -18. Divide by -3 and we get x equals 6. So that's our x-intercept. All right, and it should be because it's x equals, all right? So the point that we get from that in the form of xy is 6, 0. And the 0 comes from the fact that we made y 0. Okay, so our x is 6 and our y was 0, and that's our x-intercept. All right, now our y-intercept. We're going to set x to 0 in the same equation. So we're going to get -3, and it's going to be times 0. Then we're going to add the 9y, and that equals -18. All right, so we plug in 0 for the x so that we can solve for y. Hence, we have the y-intercept. All right, when we solve, we get -3 times 0 is 0, so we get 9y equals -18. Divide by 9, and we're going to get y equals -2. So this is our y-intercept, and it gives us the point 0 for the x, but -2 for our y. Now we have 2 points that we can graph. All right, so that's important. You always wind up with 2 points. All right, so 6, 0, and 0, -2 are our points. So let's go to a coordinate plane. Now, a coordinate plane, always label your x and y axes. Okay, so I'm going to label this x, label this y. Our vertical axis is y. Please don't put numbers on your coordinate plane. Okay, it's not necessary because we can count. And we're going to go to the origin, and first we're going to graph 6, 0. So we're going to go 6 to the right. And we're not going to go up or down, so there's our point. That's our x-intercept. Now we're going to graph our y-intercept at 0, -2. So we go back to the origin. We don't move left or right, but we go down 2. And then we grab a ruler or a straight edge of some sort, and we draw our line all the way through our coordinate plane, hitting our 2 points. So I'm going to have to make an adjustment here. But you guys, if you have a ruler, won't have to do the adjusting because it'll be done for you as you line up your points. And draw all the way through your coordinate plane. Don't just draw these dinky little lines. All right, and this is your equation of -3x plus 9y equals -18 using the x and y intercepts. This is our y-intercept, and this is our x-intercept. All right, now we're going to find the x and y intercepts of this linear equation, and we're going to use them to graph the line. All right, same thing. To get our x-intercept, we're going to set y to 0. So x minus 4 times 0 equals 18. Well, 4 times 0 is 0, so x equals 18. So the point that we have is 18, 0. Our y-intercept, we're going to set x to 0. So x is now 0, so we substitute in 0 minus 4 times y, so 4y equals 18. Well, 0 is 0, so 0 minus 4y is -4y, watch your signs, equals 18. Divide by -4, and y will equal to 18 divided by -4, so it's going to be a negative result, and it's going to be 4 with 2 remaining out of 4, so 0.5, 4.5. So it's -4.5. So the point we get is 0, -4.5. And depending on your coordinate plane and how it is partitioned along the axes, you would give it your best estimate to plot -4.5 if the unit boxes are one whole unit and not half units. So we're going to graph